Hi, I'm Andy Jules. Welcome back to VideoCreditScore.com. Today we are going to talk about the impact you can make on your refi with your credit score. So a lot of us are probably doing a refi right now because a lot of us got 5 and 1 year ARMs back 5 years ago, and what this instrument is a 5-year interest-only loan that had a fixed rate for 5 years and then switched to an adjustable rate. A lot of us thought this was a good idea 5 years ago because it was the cheapest way or the least expensive way for us to get into the most house and the most kind of bang for our buck. But now those instruments are coming due and many of us have to refi, and the rates have actually gone up. And so a lot of us should actually expect to pay about 10% more in payments than we would have paid back 5 years ago. So if you're going to pay more in payments, one of the things you want to do is look at your credit score. And by the way, you're going to pay 10% more and that's if you can actually get approved. So credit has actually tightened, so you really have to have your credit score in good shape. So what can you do? Well, let's take a look. First thing you want to do is you want to keep your credit utilization between 10 and 20%. You want to keep it as low as you possibly can. And this means if you have a credit card limit of $10,000, that you only want to use about $1,000 of that per month. And that would be 10%. You could extend it to 20%, but you want to keep it low. Don't use your cards for any types of new purchases. You want to keep sort of the current types of purchases you've been doing and maybe use cash and use cards a little less. Here's another thing you can do, and that is actually pay off your credit card twice a month. You probably get paid twice per month, I'm guessing. So get into the habit of paying off your card twice a month. What this does is this essentially cuts your balance because you're paying off. So let's say that you're using $2,000 in limit on a $10,000 limit card. Well, if you're paying that off twice per month, it might look to the card that you're actually only using $1,000. So it makes your utilization look lower. So you can actually even pay up to like every 3 days. So one tip would be to do this every week if you can afford to do it and you can get into the habit. That can actually really help your score. So in case you don't believe me, let's take a look at my own personal track record here. I had an Amex card that was $7,000 back in February, and come July, I got it down to $21. Well, I did this in part by keeping my spending down on the card, but I also got into that habit of actually paying it off every 2 weeks or even every week, and that just kept my balances much lower. So how did that impact me on the score? Well, you can see from here that my score went up by over 30 points since February. So there's a pretty big increase for a short amount of time, and if you actually just look at the 4-month time frame, my score went up by 26 points in 4 months. And I had a pretty good score to begin with, so it's a pretty big jump considering sort of having a good score, and it'll show you that in a short amount of time you can actually really impact your credit score. So one of the things you want to just be aware of is that I didn't do this with any gimmicks or any trickery. There was no special trick I did. I just was good about using my cards less and paying them ahead of schedule. So if you want to learn more, come visit me at VideoCreditScore.com, or you can also follow me on Twitter and friend me up on Facebook. See you soon. Remember, everyone's situation is different. Be sure to contact a financial advisor or a credit counseling professional before making important financial decisions. This video broadcast is for educational purposes and not a substitute for receiving personalized professional advice.